It's spooky season, and what's spookier? The state of the world right now, or a person watching you, following you, draining you to damn near death, then feeding you their blood, and now you gotta come back and be immortal in the state of this world. I think it's the former. Yeah. So I'm a little bit under the influence right now, and I thought it would be fun to do a cool little video about which vampire universe I would want to be in. So I got 5 universes of TV shows and movies that I've watched. So if it's not on this list, it's probably because I didn't watch it. We have Underworld, Interview with a Vampire, Twilight, Midnight Mass. I know, I watched it the other day and it's fresh on my mind. And Vampire Diaries. I specifically chose universes where we're introduced to the vampires through someone who was recently turned and or in love with a vampire from that world, because you just learn more about the vampires through that lens. And I didn't want to pick any Slayer universes because I do want to make a which universe would I rather be a Slayer in video. So that's why you don't see Buffy or Blade or Van Helsing or anything like that. And the criteria for scoring these universes is based off of 6 categories. Every category can total up to 5 points. And all universes start off at 30, and I deduct points with anything I don't like. And then we're gonna rank them at the end from highest to lowest, and whoever has the highest score is the winner. The first category is general aura and overall appeal of the vampire world. Whenever a vampire wants to turn you, they try to sell you on this world, but sometimes the world is scary. Basically, would I let you bite me, or you gonna have to hunt me down and get me like Lestat did Louis? The second category is how painful is the transition. The third category is endurance and recovery. How much damage can I take as a vampire, and how long does it take me to recover from said damage, and what kills me, like permanently. The fourth category is special abilities. Almost every vampire universe gives their vampires some sort of special ability to make them somewhat unique. The fifth category is enemies. And then the sixth and final category is how scary are the elders. If you like vampire stories, you know the elders are usually the scariest people in the vampire universe. They do not play, they're old, they angry, they powerful, and they will get you hemmed up. And usually you don't find out about the elders until you're well into your vampire life, and that's why they're the last category. All right, so we starting off with the first world, and that is Underworld. So in the Underworld universe, being a vampire is not supernatural, it's superhuman. It's a virus, it's not a curse. The vampires in Underworld are not dead, right? So the virus stops them from aging, it makes them superhuman, but they have to feed on blood. Like, it's not a thirst thing, that's the only thing that's keeping them alive. And not everyone who gets bit gets turned. -1 point. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. You have a 50-50 chance of becoming a vampire if you get bit in the Underworld universe, and that just does not sound appealing to me. If immortality is not guaranteed, I don't want to take my chances. I'm gonna be honest with you. I really don't. You're gonna have to chase me, you gotta get me. So that's -1. I don't like that. Especially because I put it in my notes. Most within the first hour. Y'all can't see that. Most within the first hour. So you literally, if a vampire bites you, it's a 50-50 chance you have an hour to live. I don't like that. And on top of that, every generation of vampires is weaker than the last generation. So whoever bit you is stronger than you. Whoever bit them is stronger than them. Whoever bit them, it's like, it goes on and on and on. So if you're a fresh vampire, you're the weakest vampire. That's actually not a problem. That makes sense. I think only in the Twilight universe, when you're a fresh vampire, are you like the strongest you're supposed to be. So that actually don't seem that bad. I wrote that down and I put -1 because obviously I ain't like it at first, but I don't know, it kind of makes sense. So the overall aura and appeal. I know I said -1 point for the 50-50, but I'm going after -2 for the 50-50. I'm gonna put it out of 3. I'm gonna put the overall aura and appeal. I'm gonna have to put it out of 3. I really don't like that 50-50. I'm not a fan of it. But if I did make it, it'd be cool. Category 2, how painful is the transition? We don't really learn too much about transitioning into a vampire in Underworld, at least not from the first movie. I don't know about the other movies. I only watched the first movie the other day, and then I watched a video about Underworld universe, and they didn't talk too much about the transition either. We don't really see anybody other than Michael turn into a vampire, but Michael was already bitten by a lichen, and he had just got shot with silver bullets when Celine turned him. So he, you can't really base how painful it was off of him. In his experience, he was already going through a lot. So I don't really know. I guess we could keep it out of 5 because I don't really know how painful the transition is. They don't really tell you.
Either you make it or you don't.
Third category, endurance and recovery process. So like I said, the vampires in Underworld are superhuman. They're not supernatural. So they can, off rip, they can die with too much damage. They out of there. If they have too many stab wounds, too many shots, really, really brutal fight, chop a couple limbs off, they could die. But they do have accelerated healing, so they could take a lot of damage. You just retreat and recover, you'll be cool, you'll be fine. You could also get decapitated, which is -1 point, and it's gonna be -1 point for every single one of these universes. I don't like the fact that anyone has to resort to cutting my head off to get me out of here. I don't like that. I don't like that. Now, I wouldn't like that if I was immortal. Like, you know how mad you gotta make somebody for them to want to cut your head off? And you also can die from this thing called nightshade, which I believe is a flower, if I'm not mistaken. Don't like that either. -1. I don't like that. I think you can be poisoned by it. They have enhanced vampires, but it seems like Celine is the only one that really gets an opportunity to get enhanced. I think Celine is the only enhanced vamp. Every other vamp is just old. It's cool, don't get me wrong, but if I can't do it, I don't really care. So endurance and recovery, -2 points. That's a 3. The special abilities in Underworld is your standard vampire abilities: superhuman strength, agility, reflexes, speed, heightened senses. You get spidey senses in here. You can see in absolute pitch black dark. So infrared eyes. You get stronger with age. The older you are, the stronger you are. And that's with every vampire universe. They have this one thing called blood memory. If you bite somebody, you learn everything they know. And I like that. I think that's cool. So special abilities, 5 points. Category 5, enemies. Your #1 enemy in Underworld is a lichen/werewolf. If you up against a lichen and they're in their human form, you coolin'. Take them out as soon as possible, right? If you around them long enough for them to transform, that's your ass, because you're gonna lose, okay? Lichens are way, way, way more powerful than vampires in their wolf form. In one bite, take you out of here. -1 point. Luckily, vampires can take them out with some silver bullets. However, they just made those in the first Underworld movie, and Celine was 600 years old. So 600 years of fighting lichens, and we don't have silver bullets. I don't think I'd want to deal with that. That seemed like a dangerous game that I don't want to play. And lichens also have UV bullets, which they shoot when they're in their human form. And UV bullets are fatal. I didn't put that on the endurance and recovery. I should have, but endurance already got a 3. I don't want to knock it down to a 2. Yeah, they have UV bullets, and it seemed like they've been had those. If we being honest, a werewolf, human form, lichen form, got a better chance at beating me than I do them. -1 for the lichens. We got 4 for enemies, okay? And then the 6th and final category is the elders. So there's 3 elders in Underworld: Victor, Marcus, and Amelia. We meet Victor and Amelia in the first movie, and Victor is scary. He's scary like most elder vampires are scary. He's old, he's British, he's powerful, he don't care about killing nobody. He tries to show sympathy to vampires, but he killed his daughter, so and we saw him up a couple lichens, and he was about to hem up Michael too if Celine ain't save him. So yeah, that's a dangerous man. I don't want nothing to do with him. -1 point. Amelia dies as soon as we meet her, so I don't really know about her. I don't know what she did. Marcus is the first vamp. the very first vampire to ever exist. And he becomes a hybrid. While he was in the ground in the first movie, Victor a lichen, and that blood dripped into Marcus's casket, making him a hybrid and waking him up. So before he was in the ground, he was just a vampire, but now that he has lichen blood, vampire blood, and just immortal blood, he can morph into a creature like Michael, because Michael's the first hybrid, right? But Michael was bitten by the lichen first, and then he had the vampire blood, so that's why he just turned into like a blue hybrid creature like that. And Marcus has that same mixture, but because he was a vampire first, he turns into this ugly gargoyle bat thing, okay? Wait a minute, hold up. He looks like the Creeper's brother. It's very disgusting, and I don't like that. So -2 points for Marcus, which leaves the elders at 2. I don't think I would want to deal with the elders in Underworld. So let's add them up real quick. Underworld got 24 points. The next universe is Interview with a Vampire. And we're talking about the television universe, even though all universes are the same. However, I'm specifically talking about the TV show because that's the only thing that I've watched. I haven't read the books, and I haven't watched the 90s movie with Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt. I've seen Queen of the Damned, but I literally just found out that that was the same universe. I had no idea. So overall appeal of the vampire world on just a sign to dotted line basis, right? It seems like you could live your life as a lone wolf, that you could have one companion, rotate between one companion, that you could try to start a little family, but we saw how that went. Or you can join a coven. And the coven sounds cool, even though the one coven we meet in the TV series isn't fantastic. I don't think I want to be a part of their coven, but if I came across another coven, who knows? Them niggas was lame though. I ain't like them. I think I would dip and dabble as a vampire. Like, I definitely would do the one companion until I was comfortable with like living on my own as a vampire, and then, you know, I try to be a lone wolf. Then when I get bored, probably give me a little companion, or I come across a companion, and then, you know, if I hear about a coven, I'd seek them out. I don't think I would immediately join, but I'd scope the scenery out, see what's up. But yeah, I'd be teetering-tottering through a lone wolf or companion. Compared to the Underworld universe, it's a little bit more diversity. In the Interview with a Vampire universe, there wasn't a lot of people of color in Underworld. Wasn't seeing too much of anything other than some colonizers. And when you get bitten in this universe, you become physically perfect. I like that. No more acne. Love that. Because 12 years I've been dealing with this. Bite me! Yeah, overall pills are 5. I like it. I don't know, sound good to me. Next category is transition. Transitioning in Interview with a Vampire is very simple. You have to be drained to the brink of death, or just on the brink of death in general, as we saw with Claudia. And then you have to drink vampire blood, and that's pretty much it. You start healing, you know, you get thirsty, you get real thirsty, but other than that, you're cooling now. Now you're perfection. Now you're immortal. You're gonna live forever, unless you walk out into the sun. Louis definitely had the easiest transition, minus the hunting part. You know, Lestat hunted that man down, took everything he loved, and told him I could give you eternal life. And Louis said, might as well, you know. What else do I have to live for? Louis was turned in like 90 seconds. He was drained. Lestat gave him some blood. He was a vampire. That's smooth to me. 5 points. Next category is endurance. You can endure a lot of stuff. Again, we're going to reference Louis. Louis was dropped from the sky. He was dropped from the sky and broke pretty much every bone in his body. And it took him 6 months or a year to like fully recover from what happened. But once he was cool physically. So you can endure a lot. You can endure a lot. You cannot endure poison though, and you can be starved to death. Poison can kill you. Starvation can kill you. However, you can be revived. Decapitation is another way you can in here. Again, -1 point. I don't like that. Sunlight and fire is how vampires can die in almost every universe. So I'm not gonna subtract any points from that. Endurance, overall recovery, that's a 4. Special abilities. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. You can become a warlock in this universe if you practice hard enough. Anybody can acquire a gift if you're taught and if you practice, and I love that. I would be living my life like Armand, except I wouldn't be so focused on trying to have a man. I would just be focused on being the most powerful warlock, immortal being I could be. Armand was way too powerful to be crying over a man that's with you out of spite. You're 500 years old and you taught him how to use his powers.
Why are you crying over here?
I really hate that he was wrapped around Luby's finger. Like, you're too powerful for that. Stand up. There's the fire gift, which is self-explanatory. You learn how to control fire. You have the cloud gift, which is you learn how to fly or defy gravity is what it's really called, but you could fly. You have the mind gift, which is telepathy, telekinesis, anything that Professor X could do, you could do if you practice. And then you have the spell gift, which is the power of influence. You can control people, change their mind, all that good stuff. So yeah, like I said, 5, 5, 5. If I gotta spend 200, 300 years just focusing on magic, I would do that. I really would do that. Your only enemies, as far as my research went, is other vampires in this universe, which is expected. So we're gonna have enemies out of 5. The only elders is Akasha in the universe. There's some other man who's like the spirit of vampires, and he made Akasha the first vampire, but that person, as far as I know, isn't in the series yet, and I don't know if they're gonna be in the new season that come out next year, but I know Akasha gonna be in the new season that come out next year, so that's what I'm gonna talk about. And she seemed dangerous just like Victor. She's just a woman, which makes her extra dangerous, but I ain't gonna hold you, I'd let Akasha bite me. I'll let her bite me. 5! Elders out of 5. So, Interview with a Vampire Universe is in the lead with a strong 29. Strong 29. The next universe, Twilight.
I don't know why you would name your kid Resume. Do you want her to get a job that bad? Like,
it's Renesmee.
Okay, same thing. Like,
General aura and overall appeal. The only thing I have written down that I don't really like is they sparkle in the sunlight. I think that's lame. I would rather avoid the sunlight because I will burst into flames and become ashes than avoid it because I sparkle.
Nigga, that's gay. Cut that out. Wow. Thank you.
Sorry. I can't do that. -1 point for overall aura and appeal. But other than that, the Twilight vampire universe seems really cool. You know, you could find you a family and it actually works. The covens in Twilight seem a lot cooler than the one coven that we meet in Interview with a Vampire. So I'd be more open to being in a coven. Being a vampire in the Twilight universe, I don't really have to explain it too much. I'm pretty sure most of us seen Twilight. It's cool. I don't have a problem with it. The transition. So the transition is incredibly painful. I have in quotes, it feels like being burned alive from the inside. -1 point. Yes, my shirt did change. It is the next night. My mic died. I got cold. I got comfy. And you know what happens next. And I have absolutely no idea where I left off at. I think the last thing I talked about was not liking the venom and that process of what it feel like, because I got -2 on my notes. So yeah, that adds up. If you get drained of too much blood before the venom gets inside of you, before the venom enters your system, if you get drained of too much blood before the venom enters your system, you can die. The transition, we're gonna give it a 3. Category 3, endurance and recovery. So I think I mentioned it already. As a newborn, you are basically invincible. You're uncontrollable though. Unless you get in some of that good vampire cooch from, what's her name, Bryce Dallas Howard. I liked her in that movie. I thought she was cuter than the other Victoria. Some people might not like that. That's my opinion. I kind of want to read that book. But then I gotta read all other books. And I don't think I want to read all other books. I think that's my favorite Twilight though. I really like that one. Newborns are pretty much invincible, but they're uncontrollable. And that is your stage for like a year. You just feed, kind of be in a frenzy a lot. You know, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. Then after that, you can endure a lot. Well, you can endure a lot because the only way to in the Twilight universe is to be ripped apart and burned. And that's cool. So we're going to give endurance and recovery a 5, strong 5. I like that. Fourth category, we have special abilities. All right. The Twilight Wiki, the fandom thing, said that there's like 40 special abilities you can have, or gifts. I think they're called telepathy, subjective cognition, which is seeing into the future with Alex got. You can have a pathokinesis, which is manipulating emotion. You can have a mental shield, which was Bella had. Tactile projection, which is telepathy. Elemental manipulation, that's with the what's his name, Mr. Robot. He had that. Right, so there's a ton. Basically, if you get bit in the Twilight world, there's a high possibility that you get some random, well, not random, because they said whatever you were like good at or passionate about as a human, it gets better. But how do you get elemental manipulation from, like, what regular personality trait can you have as a human being that will give you that power? So I'm gonna say random. A gardener, like you garden, so now you can control the earth. Like what? That don't seem fair. I'd rather it be random. I don't know, cause like what I'm supposed to do against elemental manipulation? Like telepathy is cool, but they get to be earthbender. If you get bitten in the Twilight universe, there's a high possibility that you're gonna acquire some type of X-Men skill, which is cool. However, you only get one. I don't like that. And I don't get to choose. Like, if I'm an empath as a human being, I get turned into a vampire, and now what? Emotional manipulation? Pathokinesis? I can influence emotions? Whoop-de-doo. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Special abilities, we gonna give it a 4. Cool powers, but if I don't get to pick, what's the point, you know? So, category 5, enemies. Very simple. Werewolves, and other vampires. I don't think you could die from a bite in Twilight. And it's not a lot of them. At least I don't think so. It seemed like it's not a lot of them in the movie series. It seemed like it's just that one clan. If you're not in Forks, we're gonna keep that at a 5. I can deal with the enemies. I'm cool with that. Now, here where we start deducting points. Elders. We already know the Valtori. I don't want to mess with them. Granted, if you're not doing anything that makes them leave Italy, I figure you should be fine. But at the same time, the idea of them just pulling up on you, like, oh, well, we have a vampire council, and they're dressed like Catholics. They about to get medieval in this bitch. I don't want, no, ma'am. So, -3 points for the Valtori. Don't like that. Twilight at a smooth 23. So next universe, this one's gonna be real short. We got Midnight Mass. Overall aura and general appeal of the Midnight Mass vampire world. Okay, so they're like your standard vampires, you know? They need to drink blood, and they're mortal, and just can't go out into the sunlight. Now, would I want to be on that island? Absolutely not. As a woman, I could jog at night and not have to worry about being like assaulted. And you know, somebody probably gonna try, but like, I'm a vampire, so I'm about to send you to your maker. I'm out here jogging and I get a meal. Like, I'm killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I fuck with it. If I'm not on the island, it's a 5. But I have -5 and literally no notes. So something I learned pissed me off. I don't know. I'm gonna give it a 5. Transition. So, all of the transitions we see in the show are very brutal.
12 seconds later.
So, we're gonna have to deduct some points from aura and general appeal. You don't get no powers. You're just immortal. You still live like a human life. You still gotta go to work because you still gotta pay rent. You know, you don't have the power of influence. You can't just manipulate everybody into making your life easier to live. You know what I'm saying? If I rob a bank, I gotta do it the old-fashioned way.
No,
You know, if I get caught,
wait.
I go to jail. I'm really in jail for life. I can't break through this cell, can't influence the guard. If I get out, I'm a fugitive. I'm always going to be on the most wanted list. Oh no, Absolutely not. I'm deducting points from overall aura general appeal of this universe. I still gotta live my life as a human. I just bite people now. I don't get no powers or nothing. Oh no, you know what? In this universe, I'm gonna be like Monsignor. I'm gonna just start me a cult. Go take it back to a 5. Because cults in real life, bad. Take it back to the state of the country.
Why do you think we're in a predicament we're in right now?
But cults in fiction, I could get behind. Makes for a very entertaining story. All you gotta do is go to a church and tell people you're the second coming of Jesus and you can't die, you live forever. So you saw how Monsignor did it? Well, he didn't say he was the second coming of Jesus, but he had the keys to that afterlife, baby. And they was drinking the Kool-Aid. I'd have started a cult like Monsignor, for real, for real. But I only want rich people. I only want state senators and billionaires and stuff. Telling them I got the key to the fountain of youth. Yeah, give me all y'all funds so I can divvy them out accordingly. Influence good decisions in this bitch. So endurance and recovery. Endurance is low, but recovery is high. You can come back from almost anything. Monsignor got shot in the head. He was out for a couple minutes, but he was out for a couple minutes. Back, thinking about
what did he do to make them niggas that mad?
So yeah, we're gonna keep the endurance and recovery at a 5 because, like, yeah, you probably don't want to experience death that much, but you want to bounce back. A lot of people can't say that. The next category is special abilities, and like I said before, we get no special abilities except for that recovery and healing and immortality. So -2 points. You don't have that at a 3. And then enemies, your only enemy in this universe is sunlight. You're gonna keep that at a 5. And then elders is that angel gargoyle creature, -3 points. So that's gonna be a smooth 20. Our last universe is Vampire Diaries. Now, I really like the Vampire Diaries universe. I have not finished that show, and I didn't really have an issue with it, I don't think, but I don't know why I never finished it. But I really like the magic aspect. Like, I like the magic. Learning about it I think I watched 2 videos about Vampire Diaries, and I was like, the magic is cool. Like, that's really what would make this universe kind of fun, because if you know a good witch, you're living. Okay, so overall aura, general appeal, the Vampire Diaries universe has a lot of magic, is witches, so it's very, very supernatural. It's not as supernatural as Buffy or Supernatural, but it's up there. It's a good supernatural universe, and vampires are magic, right? They're magical beings because the original vampires got turned into vampires because of a spell. They have these vampires called siphon vampires, I think that's what they called. Oh no, they called heretics. Yeah, I want to be a heretic. I want to be a heretic. And a heretic is a siphon witch. They start off as a siphon witch, right? Meaning that they can only use their magic if they siphon it from a magical being or a magical object. So they would have to siphon their power from like a vampire or something like that, right? But the heretics, they were siphon witches that turned themselves into vampires so that they can siphon their magic from themselves on top of being immortal and having all the abilities of a vampire. And magic is really all it takes for you to become enhanced, like an enhanced vampire. There's like an enhanced vampire in the originals from the clips I saw in the video that I watched, who made this like super duper spell. And now he's just like the strongest vampire now, and that's overall aura general appeal is at a 5. They won with that one. I'm sorry, y'all. It's pretty much the same reason that I really like the Interview with a Vampire universe. Like, so next category is transition. The transition in Vampire Diaries is very similar to every other transition. You have to have the vampire blood in you, but when you're not like 100% dead, I guess, you come back and you're in this soul purgatory for like 24 hours. And if you don't bite someone and feed on them on human blood, you will die for real, for real. I think that's very interesting. It doesn't deter me from wanting to get bit. So 5. Next is endurance and recovery. Holy items don't work on the vampires in Vampire Diaries. Sauces, garlic, holy water, you cool, you chilling. However, anything wooden to your chest, you out of there. Don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Like a wooden stake, cool. Wooden anything? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm feeling like one of them vampires from Dusk Till Dawn. Like, no, ain't no way y'all in here stabbing people with a pencil and I'm just dead. Like, what? Come on, I'm not doing it. Absolutely not. -1. -1. I don't like that. You also can get taken out by a very powerful witch. I put very powerful witch, but it seems like you can get by any witch. In Vampire Diaries, witches and vampires, like, that's real beef. That's real beef right there. And I would assume, because in order to like be a witch, I think you have to be like taught from another witch. You have to learn magic. Somebody has to teach you how to use your magic. I'm more than sure every witch knows like a spell that fuck a vampire up. Like, I would just assume that's first line of defense is a good spell. Every witch got like a Patronus charm, I'm sure. I put -1 on my notes, but that's actually not that bad. You can also starve. Decapitation again, -1 for that though. I'll take back the -1 for powerful witch, but I'm gonna give it to decapitation because I just like, do you know how angry you gotta be or somebody gotta be to chop your head off? I don't like, I know I'm gonna be out here doing stuff. Oh my God, I'm gonna just start me a cult. I could get decapitated. Somebody in my cult could decapitate me. I don't trust my followers no more. But anyway, fire, of course, takes you out. Also, they have this thing called vervain. If someone makes a stake out of wood from vervain, that's it, baby. You're out of here. Which is fine because it's a stake. Like, I could respect a vervain stake to the heart. You know what I'm saying? You have to sculpt a stake out of this special tree and you got to get close enough to me to put it in my chest. And because this special tree is going to automatically take me out. Endurance and recovery is a 3. Okay, so special abilities, super speed, endurance, you could heal and stuff like that. Everyone has the power of influence, so everyone can compel another person. If you are strong enough or old enough, you can learn how to compel other vampires, which is cool. You have the power to erase memories, but you only can do it if you feed on humans. And then you can develop the power to control dreams and cause delusions, which is really cool. I like that. But my favorite thing is you can get a daylight ring. The daylight ring allows a vampire to walk out into the daylight, but you have to be cool with a witch. So if you're not a heretic like myself, I will have to hook you up with one of my witch homegirls that didn't want to turn. If she fuck with you, you know, she could charm your ring and we could hook you up. Now you can walk in the daytime. And I think it could be any amulet, but most vampires just have a ring, but it can be any piece of jewelry, like a necklace or something like that. So yeah, special abilities, we got that out of 5. Enemies, other vampires, of course. Werewolves, just like Underworld, they're more powerful than the vampires in that universe. And one bite is fatal. That's it. It's over for you, love. And witches, and -1 for other vampires because the vampires in Vampire Diaries is kind of ruthless. Like, you have to watch out for other vampires in all of these universes. We've already talked about it, but I learned about what happened to Alaric, what they turned him into. Yeah, I'm on -1. That's ridiculous, bro. -1. So we got enemies out of 4. All right, so last category is the elders. So I like the elders in Vampire Diaries. I haven't watched the originals, but elders are 3 siblings, Klaus, Elijah, and Rebecca. And they were turned into vampires because their parents was trying to make them immortal, and either they or somebody else did the spell wrong, and it made them immortal, but it also made them bloodthirsty creatures with superhuman abilities, supernatural abilities. I already know Klaus ain't nobody to play with, just from the internet. Elijah is the cool sibling, and I don't really know about Rebecca, but I think I made it to the season that Rebecca was introduced in Vampire Diaries because I remember seeing her, and I didn't really have an issue with her character. I could be wrong. Klaus is scary because he gives Victor vibes, but he's a hybrid as well. So it's like, I wouldn't want no issues with him. I wouldn't want no issues with any elders though. I feel like I made that clear in this video. It's really hard to kill an original. If they die, everyone in their bloodline, every vampire that they sire dies. Meaning that if you were bitten by someone that was bitten by someone that was bitten by someone that was bitten by Rebecca, if she died, everybody dead. Everybody's gone. Everybody who was turned into a vampire and could trace their vampire blood back to Rebecca, that's it. And the same thing with Elijah, and the same thing with Klaus. And I don't like that, because what if I'm like 5th generation vampire? I don't even know that lady and I'm just dead. Like, I don't, what? That's lame. I don't like that. -1. I'm so far removed. Like, why am I a part of this? Other than that, they cool, but that, I don't like that. So elders is a 4. All right, so we're going to add up all the points.
6.
So the vampire world that I would want to be a part of is the interview with a vampire universe. Okay, at a strong 29. I think I would thrive there. I would enjoy that. Midnight Mass came in last, and I knew that. You knew that. It's not shocking to anyone. My vampire life in Midnight Mass will be very, very interesting. But it will only be interesting because I can't do cool vampire stuff. So I have to do like immoral stuff to, you know, keep it spicy. Might as well. Coming in second, Vampire Diaries. I really like the Vampire Diaries universe, like I said, but that Elder Bloodline thing, didn't like that. The other vampires are real gruesome in here, and I don't like that I could just be stabbed with a pencil. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that at all. But yeah, I enjoyed making this video. I do want to do the Slayer video. I don't know if I'm going to get it out by October though. First video in November is going to be about the Vince Staples show. The next video might be about the faculty being a rated R Goosebumps story, or the Mark ones being the best out of the Paranormal Activity franchise. I should have been a little bit more consistent these last couple of weeks, because I've been having ideas for videos and I've been writing scripts, but I just haven't actually been making them. I like making videos, putting them out there. I really love how much people interacted with the Insecure video. And I know that I can get that interaction with all my videos if I just be consistent. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, like it, subscribe. I think I'm really close to 100, which is awesome. So yeah, my name is lataijahyhane. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you like, hope you subscribe, and have a good night.